Hey Harbour kids.
Hello.
It's nice to see you again. I've got another story for you today.
Oh, I love stories.
And this story is another one of Jesus' miracle stories.
Ooh.
Imagine one day you had gone into school and found out that you were the only person who had taken in a packed lunch that day.
No.
What sort of thoughts might go through your head? What do you think that you would do?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Or how about you had a packet of sweets and there was only enough for just your friends, not for you, none for you. What do you think you would do? Do you think you would give them all to your friends or keep them for yourself? Or maybe choose just one friend, one special friend? Really tricky choices, aren't they? I wonder what you would do.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Now, the story I'm going to tell you is about a miracle that Jesus performed in a situation a little bit like this. One day, there were 5,000 people sitting on a hillside. They were all there to listen to Jesus talking. They'd arrived after breakfast time and probably thought they were going to spend the morning there. But now it was nearly tea time, and they were all getting a bit peckish. They probably hadn't meant to be there on the hillside all that long, but that's what it was like listening to Jesus. The time just flew by without you even realising. And now suddenly it was tea time, and no one had any food left, and everybody was getting a bit grumpy and hungry. Now Jesus' friends, the disciples, they said, well, why don't we just send them home? It's getting towards the end of the day anyway. They can just go home and have their tea. And Jesus said, no, we'll feed them. It'll be okay. Now the disciples, they were quite confused by this. How are we supposed to feed 5,000 people? There's no food here. There's no shops around here. We certainly wouldn't have enough money to buy food for 5,000 people. How are we going to do that?
I don't know.
Just at that moment, a small boy, probably about the same age as you, he very quietly and shyly walked up to Jesus, and he gave him a little basket of food. And in that basket, what he had were 5 little bread rolls and just two little fish.
I like fish.
Not really probably even enough for him, but he gave it to Jesus. Jesus thanked him. And then Jesus looked up to heaven and he gave thanks to God for the food too. Even though it didn't look like a lot of food, Jesus knew that God would make it enough. Jesus knew that God, who made all the fish in the sea, who made everything out of nothing right back at the very beginning, he would certainly make these 5 bread rolls and 2 fish enough to feed all of those people.
That's amazing.
Jesus gave the food to his disciples to share out amongst the crowd. And you know, as they started doing it, as they broke off little bits of bread and fish, something amazing started to happen. They broke off a piece and there was more.
More?
And they broke off another piece and there was still more.
More?
And that carried on until all of the people, all 5,000 people, had had enough to eat. And you know, there was even leftovers.
Can I have the leftovers?
Jesus did lots of miracles like this. Things happened that people couldn't quite understand or couldn't explain at all. The little boy in this story is really important. If he hadn't taken his little packed lunch up to Jesus, those 5,000 people would have gone hungry.
Oh, no.
This story shows us that it's really important for us too to give or share with other people what we can. And you know, God will always make sure that we have everything we need.
That's good.
I'm sure lots of you have been doing things like this over the last few weeks. Kind, sharing things for your friends and family. Maybe over this next week you could think of something else that you could do to show your friends or a member of your family how much you care and that you want to share something with them.
Ooh.
Maybe you could draw them a picture or send them a letter in the post. Or maybe if you like baking, you could bake them a cake or some biscuits.
Oh, I like cake.
That would be a really nice idea.
Oh, yeah.